the 3 stages of flabbiness, which I'm about to describe, was very much an internal reflection. To superimpose it onto other people would seem extremely rude and judgmental. And the best way to be rude and judgmental is just talk about it on yourself. And then if other people want to reflect on that, that's up to them. But yeah, I realized that I really like being motivated in life. I like having stuff to do. I like being busy. I like having purpose. I like being physically fit. I like challenging myself mentally. And I'm sure we all agree with all of those sort of things. We'll kind of do that. But equally, I also am quite lazy. I'm always looking for an excuse to procrastinate, etc. So I came up with these 3 stages of flabbiness for myself, which I noticed very much linked together. And the first one, physical flabbiness. And by flabbiness, I'm meaning that metaphorically rather than literally. But for example, I try and go for a run or exercise most days. Occasionally, and I achieve that, but only through repetition and habit. So if I miss it for a day or a couple of days, then the third day I'm like, oh, it's a bit wet outside, can't even bother. And a few days go by and I realize I start to slip out of the exercise thing, and that could go on for a couple of weeks or so. And I don't really notice too much at first, but then I notice it moves me on to stage 2, the sort of mental flabbiness, which is that when I haven't been physically exercising and physically keeping myself sharp, then I start to get mentally a bit lazy as well. I think, oh, I can't be bothered to read this complicated book that'll make me clever. I'll just flick through Twitter and stuff instead. And you do that. And then the final stage, which I rather dramatically label moral flabbiness, is when you realize that you come home one day and instead of going for a run or reading a clever book or something, you just flop down on the sofa with a Chinese takeaway, turn the TV on and just slob out there and realize that you're, with all the privilege I have in my life to be born healthy and fit and have a good education and live in a country which gives me opportunities, blah, 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 all of this stuff, I'm just accepting that my life is enough to just slob on the sofa, eating takeaway and watching Netflix. That's just pathetic. And what I really need to do is sort my life out by jumping in a cold river or going for a run, or at least blocking off some dates to commit to the next adventure and getting out there and making the most of my life again. So yeah, they're my 3 stages of flabbiness.
Yeah, I really related to that. You can see why physical exercise is such a part of like self-improvement, of why people talk about that, and that it does just keep you switched on to the other things. And then also the concept is, you said one of the ways to get out of it is to book an adventure and just make sure that you go and do something, because I think it's sort of like ripping the plaster off of like, you just have to go and do something big to like humble yourself again and remind yourself that like you can do these things. Something I definitely find with myself is if I'm doing too much running or with adventure, I kind of wonder if I'm just running away from something or for something. But with the way you describe that, it's like, yeah, there probably is a really good reason. It's a hard question to be asking yourself. In terms of not talking too much about physical flabbiness, but then like mental flabbiness, besides exercise or booking a big adventure, how do you deal with mental flabbiness?
Oh gosh, beyond those things, the mental side of my life, as in using my brain side of life, mostly comes down to writing books. And I find beginning writing books to be a almost physically painful experience. The prospect of starting there with a blank piece of paper and thinking, man, I've got to sit here every day for literally months to write something. And when I finish that, it'll be rubbish and I'll have to sit here for a few more months trying to polish it. And then in a few more months when I sell it, not that many people are going to buy it or read it. What's the point of all this? So the really hard thing for me with books is just beginning it. And the way I overcome that is I have up on my wall a habit calendar, which is like a grid. And every day I have to write 1,000 words and then I can put an X in the box. And doing that the first time is quite hard. And the second time is a bit hard. But then soon I don't want to break my string of X's. So with writing books, the mental side of my life, it's just about beginning, just forcing myself to begin and to remind myself that although this is quite tedious and painful today, in the long run, what I'll be proud of is holding a book saying, yeah, I've done this book and I hope it might make a difference to someone somewhere. And the only way I'm ever going to have this book in my hand is if I sit down today with a blank piece of paper and write 1,000 words of utter rubbish, and then we'll worry about tomorrow.
Glad I asked that. That's a really nice way of getting yourself started. And I've been really suffering that issue with, like, I started doing like YouTube videos, and I was quite proud of some of them, like generally funny, like adventurous, inspiring. on your subject of things that you should try and get into one thing. But then when they coming to start again, the next one is always, oh my God, there's so many different things to sort of, I just don't even know where to start. And just cracking in and just getting like 2 hours done a day or something is all you need to do. And then like within a few days, you're actually sort of halfway through working out. And then you get into like the fun part of just making fun scripts and stuff. So yeah, so I'm going to make a habit calendar for myself. And cheers. That was useful. I'll let you know when my next video comes out.
Habit calendars are brilliant all round. If I've got out of habit of exercising, I set myself a challenge, like I've got a pull-up bar outside my shed, or I do some sort of press-up challenge. There's a brilliant press-up challenge, by the way, called Bring Sally Up, if you look on YouTube. And you just set yourself this goal of just having a go at it today. And you'll do rubbishly, but you put it down on your chart and then you force yourself every day to just do it. And then in a couple of months' time, you've done it and it's great. So yeah, the habit calendar is really important for overcoming my physical laziness as well.
The problem I get is like, I'll start a habit calendar and I'll put like 12 different habits I want to do, which is too many, and I don't keep trapping them. And doing just 1 or 2 habits until they become a habit is much better. But on the subject of the Bring Sally Up, Sally Down, that is one of the things I have done pretty religiously. Actually, I spent 1 week during lockdown where I did it every hour on the hour for like 14 hours a day for a week, and it was savage. But by the end of it, oh my God, I was good at press-ups. It's crazy.
That's a brilliant example of you start something, because I saw it that also during lockdown, the England cricket team started doing it and I saw it online. I thought, oh, I'm much tougher than a cricket player. I'll just succeed at this instantly. So I got down the floor and just failed so badly, but persevere for several weeks and you do it. And I think it's just a brilliant step-by-step example. And it's literally, well, day one, it's probably less than a minute's worth of exercise. Everyone can commit to that. So it's the Sally challenge is a really good one for just gradually building yourself up.
That's actually one of the videos I have filmed. I started doing like a different type of press up for each verse, because it gave you like a bit more of a complete like chest workout, doing like sort of wide ones, star ones, like I need to release that one already.